Hello there, educators. Happy Wednesday evening. Yikes. I'm going to wait till everybody comes on here before I get started. But it's the crack of 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I am, which is in Missouri, also known as Misery, but it's really not that bad. I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to get on here, and I've got my notes ready, and I'm ready to go, so whenever you're ready. See where I can put my water here. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, I think. I'll just let people join when they want to. I am Judi Meredith, and I am the host of a free online Facebook group called Powerful, Prosperous Women. I'm also a licensed professional counselor who has had a private practice for many, many years. And I started out working with victims of crime in 2 different courthouses in my area here. And so I worked with a lot of domestic violence victims, women who had a serious self-love deficit and grew up in difficult families and found themselves in really horrendous relationships. So as I worked through the years, I ended up working with a lot of women. And one of the most difficult things for women to do is to put themselves first and to recognize that their life comes first and that they have value and that they are entitled to be loved. So with that in mind, my presentation tonight is going to be called Selfish is the New Sexy, okay? So, have you ever wanted to be a woman who is completely confident, just immersed in her own joy, in the zone, living her life, super happy, super calm, in charge and in control of herself? And I don't know about you, but that's kind of my goal. And you may be saying, I want to be like that too. So how do you get there? Let's take a look at how you get to that point of feeling like, I got this, I got my life. You actually get that way first and foremost by managing your own life before anybody else's, making your own life a priority, and being very selfish in a good way, okay? You don't get that way by putting other people's lives before your own. And you get you get to that point by understanding your own value and believing in your own value. And it just leads me to busting a myth when I talk about that kind of a woman who's really in her zone. There's a myth out there that our culture propagates, and many religions also propagate, and that is the lie that it's better to put other people before ourselves, okay? We get that from religious groups, we get that from our mothers, we get that from our sisters, our aunts, our grandmothers. The culture in general teaches women to be the facilitator of other people's lives. Now, there's nothing wrong with supporting someone and giving them support in the people that you love. But what I'm referring to is a real unhealthy giving of the self to the point where you really aren't focusing on your own life. And I work with a lot of women who have this, okay? It's actually impossible to put other people before yourself. And when you try to do it, you create all different kinds of crazy. And that's what results. Believe me, I know, because I've been in practice for years, and the life philosophy that I have to put everybody else first before me creates and promotes crazy. So it's a myth. When we do butt out of other people's lives because we don't have time to manage their lives because we're managing our own, we actually communicate a message of respect to the people who are in our lives. We are saying to them, look, I respect you enough to know that you have what it takes to live your life and do what you need to do, and I don't need to do that for you. So you stay over there and tend your garden, and I'll stay over here. Hi, Anna. And I'll stay over here and I'll tend my garden and we'll get along. So that kind of goes back to the boundaries, and it's having mutual respect for one another. Even giving our kids choices in line with their abilities teaches them to become the independent humans that we want them to be, rather than giving them directives and kind of controlling them too much, so that they can learn growing up how to make their decisions. So a lot of us didn't get that, and making decisions then becomes very difficult for us. And then it's even easier to go, well, I don't really know how to make decisions for myself and I'm not comfortable doing it, but I can see what's going on in that person's life and I can easily make a decision for them. And then you find yourself wandering away from your own life and trying to live somebody else's again. So not healthy, not good. Yeah, it is a lot easier. It is actually a lot easier sometimes to see what other people need and to want to do for them. Okay? Not healthy, not good. So, yeah, it's actually controlling to put other people ahead of ourselves, and it's very disrespectful as well. Very convenient because we're not focusing on our own lives. I'll use a quickly here, I'll use a quick metaphor to explain this, and you've probably already heard of it, but it's the metaphor of the oxygen plane on the airplane, okay? Anytime you are on an airplane and you're headed somewhere, before you go, the attendant is at the front of the plane explaining all the safety features, and they tell you if those oxygen masks come down, you're definitely going to want to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you attempt to help anybody else. Because if you don't and you try to help somebody else, you're going down and they're going to not get the help that they need from you. That is so true in every other aspect of life. The more healthily selfish that we are living our own life, and the stronger we are, when somebody really does need help around us, we can be there for them. So it works across the board. And I know it's probably an overused metaphor, but it's just so good. It's so perfect. So how do we get to a place where we really like and love ourselves? We just out and out love ourselves, and we're comfortable with our own company. It's like that old saying that a woman who loves herself enough to enjoy, a woman who knows what she brings to the table loves herself enough to eat alone. She enjoys her own company. The way that we get to this place is definitely through self-love, okay? We learn healthy selfishness through the love of the self. And I've been told by so many people, I don't even know how to do that or even what that means. And a lot of times women have such a deeply rooted sense of self-loathing that the thought of loving themselves is just, it's so foreign, it's crazy. How do I even do that, is what I've been asked by women before. Women were not taught by our culture, by their families, how to love themselves, and they weren't taught the beauty and individuality of their existence, and that they are something and someone to be highly prized. Instead of that, we're given a lot of other messages, and I'll get to that in a minute. So the secret of getting to self-love is to use self-compassion. So we get to self-love through the practice of self-compassion, okay? Because you can look at love as a verb, or you can look at love as a feeling that you just have. If you have children or pets, you have this feeling of love toward them, but you don't have that, maybe that feeling of love for yourself, so you must develop it. And the way that we do that is through the way we treat ourselves. And if you ever have had a child or helped to care for one or a pet, you know that you develop a deep love for that other being by caring for them, by nurturing them, and that bond gets developed. So we can likewise do the exact same thing. Sure, which, I'll take a break here. Anna, which did you need me to repeat again? I'd be happy to. Anna's asking, can you repeat that again? Go ahead and type it in, whatever you remember of it, Anna, type it in the comments, and I'll come back to it, and I'll try to say it again. So we get through love through the practice of self-compassion. What's so good about a practice is that it's something we can do. And we're not just expected to just feel these feelings for ourselves, okay? But I will say that the most important relationship that we can have is the one with ourselves, and the quality of our relationship with other people will depend upon the quality of the relationship we have with ourselves. So it's really, really important to have the best relationship with yourself that you can. So let's see where I want to go from here. So it's really important to remember that you can't really set yourself aside to put other people first. It just doesn't work that way. We really do have to have a really solid investment in our own life in every way possible. And it's not that we don't do things for other people and support people along the way. We do, but it's within reason and with boundaries. So, or we wear out and we burn out and we get sick, not just mentally, like with depression and anxiety, but literal physical illnesses can develop. And I've met many women who are in their 40s, 50s, and beyond who have lived their whole life this way, and they are literally physically breaking down from it. And it's not their fault. It's just really early programming where they were taught, this is what you do. You don't consider yourself. You put other people first, right? So one of the things that I want you to think about is the fact that we say stuff to ourselves in relationship that we would never consider saying to another person. It's a never-ending dialogue with women that goes around in their brain, and it's abusive, so it's like self-abuse. And here's some statements that I've written down here in my notes that I have heard over and over and over again that women say to themselves, and here they are. You look fat. You are fat. You need to lose weight. You look terrible in those jeans. Ugh, I'm having a bad hair day. Why did I say that to that person? That was so stupid. Why did I say that to her? I'm so stupid. And I never do anything right. So if any of that sounds familiar, we probably need to try an exercise in self-compassion. So this is what I'd like you to do right now. Type into the comments your favorite self-criticism. Type it in there and let's have a look at it. Oh, being a sexy woman that you talked about after. Okay, I'm addressing Anna's comment. Was it about a woman who knows knows what she brings to the table? A woman who knows what she brings to the table is not afraid to eat alone. That might have been it. I'm not sure. We may have to rewind the video to see. Hi, Marianne. It's nice to see you on here. So type into the comments, if you would, for me, your favorite self-criticism. I don't even know what my own one is anymore. I've been doing a lot of work on self-compassion, and when I hear myself saying something negative, I just kind of say, stop, wait a minute. So I'm doing my own practice of self-compassion, and it's very helpful. Okay. Anna says, yes, yes. The woman who knows what she brings to the table is not afraid to eat alone. And, it's such a good saying, because when you know what you bring to the table, you're like, hey, I'm good company for myself. And I don't need another person here to validate me. And it kind of helps chip away at that pathological loneliness that women have sometimes, always thinking they have to have someone in their life, or someone needs to be around. They need to be doing something for somebody in order to feel valuable and worthwhile. Okay. So, did anybody type in one of their favorite? Okay, so if you don't have a favorite criticism, let's just take one of mine off the list. How about you look fat? What would you say to a best friend of yours who said, I look fat. I look fat in this. Do I look fat in this? What would you say to them? What messages would you want to give to them? Just think on that for a minute. And maybe type in the comments what you would say to your best friend who just said, I look fat, or I am fat, because that's a big one for women. And it's important while you're thinking about that, I just want to mention it's really important to realize that all those messages that come from our culture telling women that we're not good enough, those are there because people want to sell us something. That's the only reason that we're being socialized in that way, is so that corporations can sell us stuff and become rich. So don't buy into those lies. And we have to start answering back to those lies and stopping that stuff as a way of loving ourselves and as a way of having compassion for ourselves and not allowing those messages to get in. Fight back. Anna says, why would you say that? Or you should have said this. Okay. So why would you say that? Or you should have said this. Can you say a little bit more, Anna, about what you would say to a friend, a best friend, who's asking you or complaining about her looks in terms of her weight? I would say something to the effect of, valuable women come in all sizes. I don't see you as fat or overweight, if that were the truth. I just see you as my beautiful friend. And it hurts me when you put yourself down. So stop doing it. I might say something like that. You are beautiful. Let's find a different pair of jeans. Yeah, exactly. Right? Okay, so my point in having you guys, I love that, Anna, but my point in having you guys do this exercise is I just want you to start saying to yourself what you would say to a friend who is having these things. Anna says, this is my criticism. Why would you say that? Oh, yeah. Why would you say that? Or you should have said this, fill in the blank. Okay. So let's work with yours, Anna. One thing you could do is you could say, well, I said something, but my intentions were good. I'm not sure if it came out okay, but it's okay to make a mistake if I did make a mistake. And maybe I'll talk to that person and maybe I'll clarify this with them. And it's okay that I made a mistake. And then you're not beating yourself up. That's a good one, Anna. Okay. It's hard to get messages sometimes on the live because on the comments, but Marianne says, what's making you feel that way? I think you are just right. That's good. That's how you would answer a friend who is saying things like that. So all I want you to do the next time you've got one of those things jumping into your head, which can be very automatic because we're very very acculturated. And this is driven home every day. You know, we see images of perfect people. We're reading magazines. There's ads in there. There's ads on TV. It's constantly coming in, and we're soaking it up like a sponge. So rather than do that, I want you to say to yourself, like Marianne said, I think you're just right. I think you're just right. I think you're awesome. And then let go of it, because, and then you'll have to do it again and again and again, because you're retraining your brain. And I think we talked a little bit about this on Monday, but whenever you're trying to get a new behavior into your habit scheme, you have to lay down new hardware in the brain for that habit. So it's a process over time, and you have to continually be on top of this thing. And every time a thought jumps into your head, you have to say, stop, wait a minute. I'm not going to abuse myself with that. I'm valuable. And have that recognition, and then ask yourself, what would I say to my best friend about this, about what I just said to myself? And then suddenly you're practicing self-compassion, and it's amazing, and it's life-changing, and it's life-affirming, and you will over time get into the habit of doing it. And then you'll be supporting yourself and believing in yourself again. Okay. So let's see, what else do I want to go with this? There's so many places we could go. And you know, I just want to say this too, if it feels difficult at first or hard to get past that myth that we're supposed to put other people first, think in terms of, I'm going to include myself into the list of people who are most important in my life. I'm at least going to include myself in, and start with that. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to cover with you guys today. We could go a little bit deeper into another activity that you could kind of do on your own with self-compassion. Would be to take a minute to think about an issue that you're dealing with, or a challenge that you're dealing with in your life right now. Just a challenge, something that you're struggling with. And just take a minute to think about what that might be. And once you have that front and center, I would like for you to consider a dialogue of things that you need to possibly say to yourself to get yourself through that challenge. Maybe even journal this and write this down when we get off of here, but write your challenge down and ask yourself, how would, if a friend brought this to me, how would I coach them? How would I support them through this? What would be my words for them? Write that all down, and then when you're done, read it back to yourself to see what you would say, and see how that makes you feel. See how that makes you feel. So self-compassion, that is the way that you get to your self-love. You want to be able to say things to yourself that are compassionate, like maybe, I know this is hard. I'm here for you. I validate this for you. And I will be here for you. And sometimes, guys, I will actually look in the mirror and speak these words to myself in the morning. And I found that I have better days when I get up and look in the mirror and I say, okay, start of a new day, I've got your back, you know, and I'll say some things out loud, and you can count on me, those kinds of things, so that I just know that it gives me the feeling that I'm not alone, and that I have inner resources that I can use. So ladies, we just really need to change our relationships with ourselves and honor and respect ourselves, and stop judging and so harshly. And this is actually a boundary that we can set with ourselves. Like we were talking about boundaries on Monday. We can set the boundary that we aren't going to allow any more of this nasty self-talk to go on, and we're going to find a way to stop it and to start supporting ourselves. And we're reprogramming ourselves. We're taking back control of our life. And I think it's important to understand too that you already do know how to be compassionate because you are doing some self-care, or you wouldn't be alive, because you're at least feeding yourself, drinking some water, doing some things like that. So we're just gonna make that bigger. Anyone can learn deeper self-compassion. And once you've learned it, you are on the way to self-love, and it's going to be an automatic. And again, we are reprogramming the brain. Okay, so it takes time, takes effort, takes practice. But it's a good thing that it's behavioral. Okay. People who are super hard on themselves will resist and push back against self-compassion. So I want to make a list for you of what self-compassion is not, okay? It's definitely not a pity party. It will actually cause you to be less likely to focus on your own distress and ruminate about how bad your life is, because you will be looking for solutions. It will not make you weak and vulnerable. Self-compassion, solid self-compassion practice will actually make you stronger. It's not actually selfish in a bad way. It teaches you to be more caring and supportive of others, because the quality of the relationship with ourselves, again, dictates the quality of our relationship with others. It will not make you lazy, and it's not a form of making bad excuses for bad behavior. It actually will provide you with safety to admit your mistakes and sit with them and be okay with them and allow them, rather than having to find somebody else to blame them on. So there's an element of self-responsibility here, taking responsibility, and it will not keep you from getting what you want in life. Some people feel like, well, if I'm not hard on myself, I'm not going to get my goals met. But that's not the case, because being harsh and punitive and angry with yourself or other people is never motivational. Use self-compassion instead. You get a lot farther. So if you want to be that woman who's super joyful, super happy, and really in her zone and owning her own space, you've got to learn the art of healthy selfishness. So remember, self-compassion leads to self-love, okay? And you can be that person. Your homework activity, do one activity of self-care that you've been putting off. When you do, post it in the homework thread, and a little bit about the outcome. How was it when you did it? And it can be something small and easy. And let me know that you did it, and I'll send over the bonus handout on self-love through the messenger, private messenger. And it is a good handout to keep as a tangible list of things that can help you stay on track with your self-love. So I just want to say thank you to Mallory and Anna for having me here. I think Anna, are you hosting on this group? I think so. But I've really enjoyed it, and I hope to be back soon with some more topics. And I welcome anyone who would like to come over and join my group to please join in. And I will put the link post it in the comments down below. Okay? Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here someday. Bye.